There we go.
There it is. And I don't believe that we have any changes to the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add or subtract? Okay,
Not me.
good. Then I will call the meeting to order. And if there is any public comment, I don't see anybody waiting in the wings to make comments, so I'll move forward to approval of the minutes from the June 26th meeting. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Nikki,
I
and a
approve.
second. Okay, and I'm going to do a roll call since we are
Thank you.
remote for approval. Nikki approved,
Approved.
Jesse,
Aye.
and Gina.
Aye.
And I for me as well. At this point, I will turn things over to Charlie. Have we lost Charlie, Maureen?
No, he just took his camera off, it looks like.
Can you hear me?
We can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can
We
hear
can't
you.
see you, but
I don't know. My camera's been doing something. There was some update and it's been doing this to me every now and again on Zoom and in Teams. It just kind of shuts itself off. So if
All
I
right.
disappear again, just holler.
you're up, Charlie, and you can do your updates, please.
Sure. So I'll start off with just some of the things that we've put forward into capital and into CPC. So we successfully submitted to CPC last Friday the Little League project cohorts with Parks and Recreation, and that will be to replace all of the Little League backstops and surrounding fencing on the fields, as well as provide purchase some new equipment that they're in desperate need of. We're replacing the batting cages on both fields, putting a new scoreboard out at the far field at Delta. This will be a much needed refresher for those fields and for them. The existing fences are in a state of kind of disrepair, just showing their age and need to be redone. We had a project total there of about $710,000 all in. And so that will be going ahead to CPC. Some of the other projects that we have in capital, we kind of touched on the Winter Park playground last time. It's kind of the big one. Some of the others that are in for this year that will need support for it. Town meeting is if they make it through all the capital approvals to get to town meeting in the spring, will be got some funding in to replace the playground equipment at Jetties Beach, which is in need of replacement, showing its age. Signature Park, Jetties. Fencing at the Tom Nevers softball field is needed, and then the other big one is the Delta field fencing, and that's to put a perimeter fence around the fields. We're really kind of fighting the e-bikes at a lot of these places, coming across the fields, tearing up the grass and causing issues. One of the places we actually had the most damage this year was actually Children's Beach, between the drought restriction on irrigation down there, the heavy use of the field, and then unfortunately kids on e-bikes doing donuts and burnouts. We pulled plenty of video footage because we have cameras there now, and supplied it to the proper authorities to see if they could track anybody down. But unfortunately, the kids were, holding the front brake on their e-bikes and spinning big rooster tails of dirt across the park, and then leaving these nice ankle turning, 1 foot long by 6 inch wide little trenches all over the place, which was something unexpected and not really fun to deal with, and trying to prevent that from happening on the playing fields, especially, it'll become a big hassle if that's something we have to try to fight between practices and games for the youth sports. We've got in some money to refresh the Tom Nevers hockey rink. I'm sure everyone's familiar with that, and the plan there would be to do something very similar to what we did at Jetties with the tennis courts. Grind down the base material that's there, use that as a new base, install a post-tension concrete court system, install fencing with a solid 4 foot lower area, and really turn it into kind of a multi-use sports court that would be lined for tennis, pickleball, And then possibly basketball. We'll reinstall new basketball hoops as people are using it out there. And all the nets in this case would be portable, so they could be pushed off to the side in case somebody wanted to go out and play roller hockey. We'll kind of equip this as a big multi-use court, and hopefully bring some more life out to the Tom Nevers Park. We had really great success with the playground out there this year. People really seemed to enjoyed the fact that it had a shade structure on it and made it kind of usable during peak hours of the day. So it's go ahead, Mike.
You know, I have been thinking, I don't think we've ever done this, but maybe we should be putting together a broadsheet of the things that we have done in the last year. We don't do that very often. We wait until we're criticized and then try to undo the damage, but and certainly it could be something that is in social media. It doesn't have to be, you know, old paper, but or put something, slip it into the INM as
I'll
well.
actually be preparing something similar to that. Where the DPW is scheduled to do our departmental update to the select board. I think we're up in November at one of the meetings. Drew just told us about that. And so as preparation for that, we'll be preparing, you know, what the Parks and Rec department has done and, you know, in the past year with the tennis courts and playground upgrades and those sort of things.
I think it'd be really a good thing to do and juxtapose the what we're asking for when we go to town meeting. It probably would be a good opportunity to say, you know, we're not sitting on our hands here. We've been stewarding those dollars effectively, but
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Happy to prepare it.
Right.
It's, you know, there's a lot. This will be probably the heaviest lift at town meeting if everything gets through all the capital things with the number of projects in, and it's just, you know, but we've been funded, you know, we've done well with the funds we've been given so far. We've got further, I'm going to touch on some of the upcoming projects and the status of them that we were already approved for. One of the biggest lifts at town meeting will be what I'm going to call kind of the Tom Nevers debris removal part 2, which is everything that's not on the beach, which has a pretty big number attached to it at the moment.
yeah.
It's just, there's a lot of stuff that's buried, and we're going to try to get in and get it out of the ground before it ends up down on the beach. For that
Does
project.
the town, Charlie, does the town have a person that manages PR that can help you with something like that?
Yeah, the communications department has been doing a great job this year. They added a new staff member to help Florencia, Jess
Yeah.
Torres, and she's been handling kind of the social media.
Yeah,
side
I
of things.
thought that was the case, so.
So yeah, I'll be, you know, putting together all sorts of videos and stuff with her, and you know, in preparation for all these things, kind of showing the wear and tear and everything else.
Great, thank you.
Some of the out year things that won't be this year but upcoming, just to kind of touch on, we kind of getting ready to plan for Children's Beach Playground to be refreshed. That's coming up on about 10 years old. We did put some money into it this past year with new decking, which are the platforms that you stand on in the apartments, but some of the rest of the steel is starting to show its age, and so we want to plan to have its replacement ready before we have to take it offline and you know, have it sit again because something's broken. One of the other out year projects will be kind of redoing the Parks and Rec master plan. We've kind of exhausted everything that was identified in it originally. There's also now obviously some new pressure and some new conversation about the potential for, you know, indoor. We've had a meeting about that here already, and so we'll be, as part of this, looking to bring in a lot more stakeholders. I think that were originally talked to, and certainly talked to the community school, the public. I believe they're trying to. They are trying to restart their.
Excuse me, Charlie, could you repeat that? You're a little choppy.
Sure.
if you
I
don't
was just-
mind, about the indoor facility, like
Oh, yeah,
who
one
would be
of the things
invited?
Included in this, the Parks and Rec master plan this time would be, what, doing a feasibility study and really reaching out and talking to all the stakeholders on the island, the public school, the community school, the Boys and Girls Club, to find out where, exactly where our needs are, what's lacking, what the future program is. Talking certainly with the school if they're going to go ahead with their fields projects, if they're going to go bring back the turf, or if they're going to just try to do a revamp with grass, how we can help with that, with future planning. We are hosting the girls varsity soccer team again this year on the turf at Nobodere for practices and games, which is going fantastic so far. And so those will be things we're looking to do in the master plan, because we exhausted the one that was in place kind of when I came on board. The other one that was to be a little bit more sensitive will be replacing the turf at Nobodere. We're getting close to the end of the useful lifespan of that product. It's still testing safe, and we still, it's still being serviced and cleaned every year, but we are going to have to start looking at its replacement. Hopefully, one that somebody has figured out how to do without any PFAS, or figure out a way that we could mitigate it on site so that it's not a groundwater issue for us. So that's kind of all the stuff that's in capital and in the works. The next thing I'd like to touch on will be the Tom Nevers solid waste project, which I just received the 95% bid package for last Friday, and they are kind of polishing up and getting ready to release this project. Hopefully, tomorrow, or hopefully early next week. I actually have some video footage here that I'll show everybody. Hopefully that just popped up to the beach. Just kind of remind everybody, I don't know when the last time people were down looking at the beach and the debris that's kind of over the edge at the moment, but this was video taken 2 days ago. And so we're going to be attacking everything that's kind of sticking out of the bluff, will be cut off or removed, and certainly all these big structures down on the beach and at the edge of the water we'll be looking to remove. We will not be digging into the face of the bluff or removing, say, the asphalt right at the top, as that would create kind of a soft spot for erosion. Some of this video is not exactly taken at low tide, so we're hoping that some of these structures will be a little bit closer to the shoreline at dead low, making them a little easier to get to. These are kind of some of the bigger structures down here, and it's hard to think that when I first started a few years ago, this big concrete structure that you see right at the tide line was actually the face of the bluff. So what the plan is, we'll be going out to bid on this next week or so, and then hopefully in 30 days or so we'll have somebody signed up for a contract and try to get them on and off the beach before we get into the kind of mid-December winter storm season. And what we're going to do, if it gets there, is we're going to end up cutting a ramp down to the beach in order to create our own access point for the heavy equipment. And what we've done is we've identified an area based on ground penetrating radar, which is going to pan up to here in a second. Just to the west of the hockey rink, there are a bunch of areas leading back up towards the baseball field, kind of just to the side of those telephone poles you see there, where there's a lot of buried debris. So it'll allow us to kind of kill two birds with one stone, dig down, remove that debris, and create our ramp access point. The ramp access point will be blocked off around the edges, kind of like you see if you go to any of the beach access points for the Conservation Foundation. They've got the telephone poles and the cables to prevent vehicle access. The access ramp will remain in place until the bluff works its way back to kind of part two that hopefully we'll have cleaned up. So the plan is to get on the beach, get everything cleaned up. Hopefully we're then funded, next year for the part two of this, where we'll go in and remove any of the buried debris that's between the bluff face and up to the bathroom area where everything has been identified. We'll be able to backfill and recompact that, put the grass back down there. We'll remove that lower parking lot at that time. And basically we'll get everything that's behind to the concrete barrier wall that's there out and remediated, leaving only about a 10-foot section of bluff face with any possible debris left. And then as that erodes, we'll have the ramp access for the town, and DPW staff will be able to go down, access the beach, and remove these small pieces of asphalt or smaller structures that we could actually handle ourselves, and remove them as they appear. And then once the bluff erodes back, as it will at some point, to the point where we've already mediated, at that point, we will remove and backfill the ramp access. So this has been a big kind of project left with an incredible amount of permitting. That's been a lot of fun to partake in, I guess. Are there any questions about the Tom Nevers project?
You've been busy.
It's it's been an interesting one to work on with all the different permitting agencies. We've met with Army Corps of Engineers who kind of looked at us and said, "Oh no, that place is all cleaned up," and kind of laughed and said, "Well, here's some photo evidence otherwise." So it's there's a lot there. There's a lot of unknown expense. There's the potential for UXOs, which is unexploded ordnance. So there'll be an ordnance team on site. There's potential for old asbestos pipe. So there'll be an asbestos abatement team on site. There's a lot of unknowns, which is what kind of drives the cost for the part two for all the buried stuff that we don't know what it is. It's got a high cost there because there's a lot of potentials to have these crews that have to be there on site while somebody's digging, just in case.
Do any commissioners have any questions for Charlie?
I don't have any questions, but it's quite incredible how much you've done already. And I just want to reiterate just what Michael said. It would be amazing to have all of this, even just to like N Magazine or something like that. Let's get it out there. Let people know what we've done, because a lot of the summer residents, they have no idea what you do and what we do. And I think it's amazing for them to see how far you've come just in the space of a year. It really is a lot.
Yeah,
It's impressive.
we'll be tracking this project a lot, the whole way down. It's a big project for us.
Yeah.
We have to clean up what was left behind. When the Navy pulled out of here.
Yeah.
I'm interested, Jesse, if you've had much involvement with CPC yet, or is your time coming up as the review of these come due?
Not much. I mentioned it to him. We had a meeting this week that that the Park and Rec was just looking for an update on things, and so when I first came on the board about a year ago, they appointed a few things, but it wasn't much. It was the rackets court. That was pretty much the only thing that I had as a responsibility, but it was all done. So, and when I mean by all done, the planning purposes of it. So there is some construction that's going to be going on, and they did update the board a couple months ago, and they are going to be breaking ground on a lot of the new pickleball courts. But that's about it. The new projects coming in. We'll see what I get appointed to.
Well, I'm sure it'll be an education for you, and it's
Yeah,
all-
absolutely. And, I think they're taking it easy on me, to the point of not having much to do.
yeah.
But it's fun to learn and listen, and hopefully I'll be able to, help out with some projects.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me, in a given year, really depends on how many applications are submitted. Because you can have a great project that just doesn't fly one year because you're up against, incredible competition. And then another year, had you applied, it would have been, easy. So I'll be interested at the end of the cycle to hear, your
Yeah,
take.
so
your take
there
on-
there were a lot of applicants, so I think it's going to be one of those years where we're not going to be able to award everybody everything. I think it was up to $8 million worth of requests. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sometimes what they do is, give a portion of it and do it in phases. So, and there's some new people that may not get anything just because it's not really in our wheelhouse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Charlie, do you have anything to add? I don't think we cut you off, but you were in and out there a couple times.
Yeah, sorry, I had my phone went off and it said police dispatch, which I was fooled. It was actually the IT department. Yeah. No, I'm basically wrapped up. The only other thing we have upcoming is the Nobody Field expansion project. I'm at about an 80% plan set on that project with Weston and Sampson. So hopefully for our next meeting, I'll have a more complete set of plans that I could show the new kind of layout for the driveway in, and hopefully the playground people will have had a chance to get their hands on those plans and have kind of a playground layout and design for us.
Okay.
Right. I do just have one question actually, Charlie. So this year with the drought, how did you fare with everything, with the fields and stuff? Being able to take care of, what we have.
Yeah, so we're pretty fortunate. The fields, especially
Last year.
in a back.
Okay, cool.
So a lot of our properties are on wells. We're not tied into the municipal water
Right.
system. So Delta Fields, Nobody here. Winter Park is on a well. We kind of decided in-house to shut down things like the rotaries.
Yep.
Would it be nice to have them nice and green? Sure. Was it a location we decided we could afford to shut off? Yes. Kind of having the drought and the restricted water, say down at Children's Beach to only 2 days.
Yeah.
Hurt us down there just because of the volume of people that grass sees almost as much use as the playing fields.
Right.
To not be able to treat it as such, and we don't really have a fertilizer program down there. We haven't fertilized in a few years because we're trying to be sensitive to the harbor. That lawn just kind of takes a beating. That lawn is now completely off, that we've entered a stage 2 drought. So they've obviously asked everybody on the municipal water system to shut down. So the fields are still operating, although we did have plenty of irrigation issues at Delta this year. It was getting actually a little comical at one point. We were finding breaks in the 3-inch PVC main line out there. We'd find one. We'd have found cracks in the bottom of the pipe. We're starting actually to think it may have been a bad run of pipe from when it was originally installed. I've never seen PVC crack like this, especially on the bottom when it's buried 2.5 feet or more down. We would fix a break, and a week later another one would pop up, and I'd call the irrigation company. We'd fix a break, and it was about 4 or 5 times in a row in like an 8-foot span, where we would find something and then have to fix it. So I'm working with them now to figure out if we should just dig up and expose the whole system and replace it. We're fortunate this isn't like a regular residential irrigation system where it's spidered all over the place. It's a very straight line with a main system, and then all the individual zones kind of branch off of it. So it would be fairly straightforward to expose and replace, and just, I feel like it might be, easier to do that than continue to chase, many breaks at a time, which shut the whole system down. And on a year like, this, where we had no
Yeah.
water to help supplement rain wise, it's tough. So that might be a winter project that we undertake.
Charlie, is that the original irrigation system when the fields were or
Sort of. There's
Yeah.
there's two wells and two old systems in there. Because the original thing that was installed was the baseball fields. And so that system runs on a smaller well than the fields, which at some point was updated to this larger PVC system, a much bigger well, probably to handle the capacity. The system that runs the fields for baseball is much more like a home residential system with 1 inch poly line, which is very standard. Anytime you see Waterworks or Chris Bissney out there, they got that machine that's just pulling pipe. That's usually what they're installing. So it's newer, but still old. We had a couple failed valves out there. They're a brand of valve that's no longer manufactured, so it's not like we can even get old new stock and do the quick easy unbolt the top of it and put on new guts. We actually they actually have to replace the whole thing. So we have our challenges there, but otherwise we're going well. We've been switching all the irrigation systems around to a smart controller, a HydroWise system, which I can control and program from my phone or my desk. And we actually have those also tied into weather stations.
Wow.
They can adapt. And if we get rain, shut themselves off. They take into account evapotranspiration rates and that sort of stuff. And if it's hot and really dry, they automatically increase their run times to compensate.
It's been quite a stretch.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any other business to bring before the commission? I don't see it. I would accept a motion to adjourn. And thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. And approval, Jesse? Gina?
Yeah.
Okay, Nikki?
Aye.
And me. So thank you. Great work, Charlie. Keep it up for our community. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
Mhm.
All righty. Thank
Good.
you all.
That's
Good
right.
stuff. Thank you, everyone.
Good catch up. Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.